Everyone, F. Gardner here. So this episode, I thought I should mention that whenever people ask me about like recent books, I seem to invariably get the question, especially ever since becoming an author myself. And now that I'm like a world famous author and everything, I always get questions saying, "Hey, F. Gardner, what do you think of RC Walden? Is a very famous author. I believe he's in Australia. Anyway, I'll get questions all the time saying, F. Gardner, what do you think of RC Walden? Have you read his books? And yeah, the answer is yes. I'm a huge fan. So RC Walden, if you're watching, yeah, man, you're great. Like, yeah, he's written The Learned Disguise and L'Academy. Those are his two most well-known works. And yeah, he's fantastic. He and some other guys also wrote. There's a Tale to the City. I believe that's what that work was called. And yeah, I'm a huge fan. Yeah, so he's all about. He has a YouTube channel too. So so shout out to RC Walden. You're the man. So he's one of the things he's about. He's really into. It's called dark academia. When I first heard that word, I didn't know what it meant. I thought it sounds like, what is this, like he knows magic or something? Like, cause like that's what it sounded. It sounded like something out of Harry Potter or whatever, like dark magic or whatever. But then I started learning about it. I read his works, saw his YouTube channel, and yeah, he's into like basically. Dark academia is like a really complex matter, and R.C. Walden's like he's probably the biggest expert on it that I know of, or probably is. So R.C. Walden, from my understanding, like yeah, he's really into dark academia, and he enjoys like kind of like it's like you try to dress like kind of like as if you're a literary character. So for example, if I wanted to suddenly, F. Gardner, well, I guess I kind of am already a literary character. I'm an author. But in the sense of like literary fiction or whatever, if all of a sudden I decided, I like Jay Gatsby, The Great Gatsby, one of my favorites. It's a classic. If all of a sudden I wanted to be more like Jay Gatsby, I want to live like the protagonist of The Great Gatsby, and like I start dressing like him. I guess even like picking up on like his little mannerisms, like how how the way he dressed and shoes and everything like that. So that's sort of what R.C. Walden's deals. In addition to just being a great author and YouTuber himself. So yeah, R.C. Walden, if you're watching, keep up the good work. I've never been to Australia. It sounds like a cool place. If I ever travel to Australia, yeah, I'm gonna have to check out, like, look, where are all the famous, like, there's this coffee shop here that perhaps R.C. Walden, maybe he was sitting here when he drafted The Learned Disguise, or oh, maybe this is a bar R.C. Walden was at when he was in the midst of drafting L'Academy and his other literary works. And yeah, so he's one of the greats. He's already, I think, R.C. Walden is already, I think, like established as like, you know, like J.K. Rowling, Stephen King. R.C. Walden is already established as like one of the modern greats. And yeah, he's young. He's younger than me. He's younger than myself, I believe. Like so I'm 33. I think he's still in his 20s. Yeah, so my hat's off to him. R.C. Walden, you're great. I can't wait to read your next book. Man, yeah, I couldn't tell you how just riveted and like on my seat I was when The Learned Disguise, that's a real page turner. And I reread it in anticipation for L'Academy. Yeah, like I've got a dog-eared copy of The Learned Disguise, like because how much I liked it and reread it, and I've reread it again. right before Academy came out, because I knew that was coming out. People got me into his works ever since I published my first books. People started asking me about it ever since Call of the Crocodile really took off and became a hit. I started getting questions about RC Walden, and I'm like, oh, well, I thought, well, this sounds like one of the guys to read. I gotta check out his book. When I looked it up, The Learned Disguise, and got a copy, and blown away. I don't know what to say. It's a masterpiece. I really like the ending in particular, when the classroom scene at the ending of that was great. And Academy, yeah, that's also excellent for very different reasons. But I could definitely tell, like, RC Walden, yeah, he's got a unique style to the way he writes, and that's something you notice as both a reader and an author. Like, as an author, so like, you'll notice like some similarities. Not that you're like reusing ideas necessarily, but like a lot of the same kind of themes you'll talk about. You notice like maybe you'll return to them in a subsequent work. And RC Walden, yeah, I definitely noticed the same thing in his works. I think you detect that a little bit more once you become an author yourself, that you start to pick up on those little things here and there for other authors, what their traits are, what sort of themes and character tropes they explore, and genres, subgenres of fiction or otherwise. And yeah, and the reader, you notice that too. Like, I can remember when this isn't that long ago, but Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, when that came out. The Shining, yeah, that's a masterpiece. That's like one of my favorite books. The movie is phenomenal too. So yeah, that's probably my favorite movie actually. And yeah, the book too. They're both, yeah, masterpieces and very different. I love them both for different reasons. Both the movie version and the original novel for The Shining. But then reading Doctor Sleep, I started picking up on like noticing like, oh yeah, I could tell this is Stephen King writing. Not that I doubted that or anything. Like, you hear about people having ghostwriters, and I didn't necessarily doubt that regarding Stephen King. But yeah, if you read Stephen King's new books, like Doctor Sleep, that's what, like 10, 12 years old or something like that. 10 years ago it came out, I believe. I got it right when it came out. I read it like the first week or something. It was awesome. So I noticed, like, reading that, I could pick up on little, like, the way it was written. I could think, oh yeah, this is definitely Stephen King. Like, he's just a man who really loves to write. And yeah, there's no way he's hiring a ghostwriter. I definitely believe, no, that's him. He likes it, and he's been doing it decade after decade after decade. And I love writing too. And I mean, I've written 13 books. Of course I love it. And I'm thankful for the readers I have and all my fans, as I'm sure Stephen King is, and RC Walden for that matter, all authors. Yeah, so you pick up on those things as both a writer and a reader. You can recognize, like, oh yeah, this is definitely him, and or her, or like, this is the author who wrote the previous books, wrote these older books, and they still like doing it to this day. So reading R.C. Walden, similarly, I noticed sort of the same thing. Like, I could tell, oh yeah, this guy, he's R.C. Walden, he's got style. Yeah, I could tell, like, the dark academia, like the whole kind of whatever his. I mean, that's one of his main things. Like, I could tell that's like in all of his books, and that's sort of like a reoccurring theme. And he the way he carries himself too, for that matter, the way he dresses. He's like, people ask me who R.C. Walden is. I'm like, well, R.C. Walden, he's like the champion of dark academia, like, bar none. Like, he's the gold standard for dark academia. So R.C. Walden, if you're watching this, I just want you to know that F. Gardner is a big fan of yours, and I am going to read all of your books. And yeah, I'll write you great reviews too. I mean, as long as they're good. But I can't imagine you writing a bad book at this point. Like after reading L'Academy, there's Tale to the City, The Learned in Disguise. Those are all, well, so timeless masterpieces. Like, I mean, I can't imagine, I can't fathom the notion that RC Walden one day will write a poor novel. No, every single book that guy's written is great. I love them, they're great. Yeah, I recommend them every chance I get. So I'm sure I'm as confident as I could conceivably be that any subsequent books he writes are going to be on the same level, if not better. Yeah, so only time will tell. So everybody, and especially RC Walden, take care. I'll catch you guys later.